So a common refutation you're going to hear through most often atheists in the God question, that I call it, is whether or not a being can truly be what's called maximally great. Now, what this means is to exist maximally is to have the absolute apex quality of anything, which in essence would be infinite. And so they often point out contradictions in these things. If God is all powerful, then why can't he prevent evil? If God is all knowing, why can't he, why doesn't he stop evil if he wants to and all that stuff? So that's often called the problem of evil refutation. And what it's meant to be is a proof against the existence of God. So we're not going to address the problem of evil just yet, as much as I'd imagine the philosophers, the Philbros, and atheists want me to. In this conversation, we're going to address the synchronicities of the omnia qualities. Now, first of all, when I refer to God, I use an acronym, greatest ontological deity. And obviously it contains the greatest maximal quality. So let's just assume that maximality in this case is in referential to infinity, which means it extends past anything that our knowledge can understand, or it extends to the absolute maximum that the universe can exist within. So that is how we're using reference of maximal qualities. Let's start with omnipotence. So omnipotence would be justified by omniscience. If God is all powerful, then he must not be limited by his knowledge to use the power, which means that he must know how to use all access of power, meaning he must have the capability to use all powers. A toddler is capable of walking, but does not have the knowledge nor motor function in order to actually do it, meaning they can, but they won't, or they can't in some way. They both can and can't. And the next one would be omniscience, justifying omnipotence. If God is all-knowing, then he must have all knowledge to use all the power in the universe. Just so everybody's clear, it's like 3 in the morning, I'm talking off the top of my dome. So what this means is that God must not be limited by the knowledge of how to affect all things. And the next one is omniscience, or omnipresence, which is justified by both omnipotence and omniscience. So if God is all-powerful and all-knowing, his knowledge and power must not be limited by space. So he must be able necessarily to affect all things at once, or as often as he wants, or wherever he wants, independent of his present location, meaning he's present everywhere. So omniscience justifies omnipotence, omnipotence justifies omniscience, and omniscience justify omnipresence. And it actually goes in a full circle. I will put my diagram in at the end of this video. And then the final quality would be omnibenevolent. So let's just be clear about something. This is under the presumption that moral truths point to good effects, not evil, as I consider the Augustinian and Aristotelian view of, Aristotle, I think. No, not Aristotle, Augustine. I consider the Augustinian and the Thomistic view that evil is the privation of good. It is simply the lack of good, or the direct acting against good, not the fulfillment of anything. So evil corrupts. So if something is maximally evil, then it would be maximally deficient, because deficiency is a form of corruption, right? So we can't have a maximally evil God. So to contain all moral truths, you would need to be all-powerful and all-knowing to actually understand and be able to act out all active moral truths. You would also need to be omnipresent, so that no space in conceivability is without your moral goodness. Otherwise, you would not then be all good. So if we accept all of these premises, then God necessarily is omnipresent, omniscient, omnipotent, and omnibenevolent. And that is what we as Christians and I would say Muslims and Jews all believe in the God essence, as we worship the same essence, but we do not worship the same interpretation of that God, meaning that we have different interpretations of God. But this is the greatest ontological deity. And if there's any atheists in the comment section, you can feel free to give out whatever extra things you want to give, or if there's any good theologians in the comment section, feel free to also do the same. But this is what we believe, and oftentimes I find in myself in debates, debating these specific semantics, and it always usually goes the same way. Omniscience not entailing omnipotence and all that stuff. Hopefully in this video I demonstrated how they entail each other, because they necessarily do. So, let me know in the comments what you guys think.